At first, it looks like an eclipse. A shadow sweeps across the sky, but there is no moon in front of the sun. No warning, no countdown, no scientific alert flashing across every screen. Just daylight, folding into darkness. In cities, people stop in the middle of crosswalks, drivers hit their brakes, birds erupt from trees, confused by a night that arrived too quickly. Solar panels across the planet fall silent in the same instant, shadows vanish, the horizon disappears, and then comes the worst part. Nobody knows why.
And is taking hold on the nation in response to the sudden disappearance of the sun, with violent riots taking place in just about every major city.
For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, Earth has been living inside a secret. Because if the sun vanished right now, we would not see it happen immediately. Sunlight does not arrive instantly. It crosses 93 million miles of space before reaching our eyes. That journey takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds. So for 8 minutes and 20 seconds after the sun disappears, Earth keeps moving as if nothing has changed. The sky is still blue. The oceans still glitter. People still step outside and feel warmth on their faces from a star that is no longer there. Then the last sunlight arrives, and Earth enters the longest night in human history. The sun is not just a light in the sky. It is the engine of almost everything we know. It drives our weather, feeds our plants, powers our food chains, warms our oceans, and holds our planet in orbit with its gravity. If it vanished for only 24 hours, Earth would not instantly become a frozen wasteland. The planet is too massive for that. The oceans store enormous heat. The atmosphere acts like a blanket. Buildings, soil, concrete, and water would release warmth slowly. But civilization is not built for the sudden disappearance of its central star. And the clock begins the moment the sky goes black. 1 hour in. The first reaction is not scientific. It is human. Across the sunlit half of Earth, panic spreads faster than any official explanation. In places where it should be afternoon, streets look like midnight. Schools go into lockdown. Airports halt departures, emergency lines overload. Newsrooms scramble for experts who all say the same impossible thing. The sun is gone. Within minutes, solar power generation collapses wherever panels had been producing electricity. For regions that rely heavily on daytime solar, grid operators are forced to react instantly. Backup power ramps up, natural gas turbines fire harder. Batteries discharge. Hydroelectric and nuclear plants become even more critical. The grid does not fail everywhere, but it becomes unstable. Electricity is not stored in the grid like water in a tank. It has to be balanced moment by moment. Supply must match demand. And when millions of people suddenly turn on lights, heaters, phones, radios, and televisions, demand surges at exactly the same time one major energy source disappears. Some cities hold, others flicker. In weaker power systems, rolling blackouts begin. Elevators stop, traffic signals fail, cell towers switch to backup batteries, hospitals move to emergency protocols. Outside, the temperature begins to fall. At first, it feels like a sharp sunset, then like a winter night arriving too early. Asphalt, rooftops, fields, and deserts begin radiating their heat into space. Deserts, which can lose heat quickly even on ordinary nights, become some of the first places where the change feels brutal. But the oceans slow the planet's collapse. Water resists sudden temperature change. It holds heat far better than land. Coastal regions stay warmer. Inland regions cool faster. Wind patterns become chaotic as temperature gradients shift across the surface. The atmosphere, no longer heated unevenly by the sun, begins to lose the engine that drives much of Earth's weather. Storms do not stop instantly, they continue on stored energy. But the system has been unplugged. And above all of this, Earth itself has changed course. Gravity also travels at the speed of light. So just as Earth would keep seeing sunlight for 8 minutes and 20 seconds, it would also keep feeling the sun's gravitational pull for that same delay. Then suddenly the orbit ends. Earth no longer curves around the sun. It moves forward in a straight line, carrying its oceans, cities, satellites, and atmosphere into the dark at nearly 67,000 miles per hour. After 1 hour, the planet is already more than 65,000 miles away from where it would have been. And still, this is only the beginning. 12 hours in, half a day without the sun, the side of Earth that first went dark has now experienced a night unlike any other. Not a normal night, not a winter night, a complete removal of solar energy from the system. Global temperatures are dropping, but not evenly. The oceans are still bleeding stored warmth into the air. But lakes, rivers, shallow seas, wetlands, and polar waters begin to show the first signs of deep freeze. At the edges of continents, ice thickens. In high latitudes, the ocean surface begins to crust over more aggressively. Sea ice expands. Shallow water freezes first. Freshwater freezes faster than salt water. Harbors, ponds, reservoirs, and canals begin to lock up. The open oceans do not freeze solid in 12 hours. They are too deep, too salty, and too vast. But the process has begun. The planet is losing a battle it cannot win without the sun. On land, plants enter crisis. Photosynthesis stops everywhere. Every leaf, every blade of grass, every crop field, every rainforest canopy suddenly loses the energy source that keeps it alive. Most plants do not die in 12 hours. Many can survive darkness for longer than that. But the fragile ones begin to suffer. Small plants exposed to cold, crops already stressed by drought, tropical vegetation with no defense against freezing temperatures, algae near the surface of cold water, tiny photosynthetic organisms that form the base of marine food webs. The food chain has not collapsed yet, but its foundation has gone silent. Animals respond in waves of confusion. Birds roost at the wrong time. Nocturnal predators emerge across regions where it should still be day. Insects stop or surge depending on temperature. Livestock crowd together. Wild animals begin behaving as if a permanent night has arrived. Humans move from panic to organization. Governments issue emergency broadcasts, stay indoors, conserve heat, reduce power use, avoid travel. Do not overload communications networks. Critical facilities move to backup power. But information becomes its own crisis. Some people believe the event is temporary. Others believe it is the end. Some flee cities, others barricade themselves inside. Gas stations become flashpoints. Grocery stores empty. Roads jam under a sky with no dawn coming. In colder countries, survival depends on heat. In warmer regions, the shock is psychological first, physical second. But even there, temperatures continue to fall. Without sunlight, every place on Earth is moving in the same direction, toward cold. The atmosphere begins to calm in some regions, but intensify in others. Temperature differences between land and ocean create strange winds. Fog forms, frost spreads. Weather models become unreliable because the basic assumption behind them, the presence of the sun, has been erased. Satellites lose solar charging and rely on batteries. Some enter safe mode. Communications become strained. GPS still works for a time, but the orbital mechanics of Earth have changed, and the longer the sun stays gone, the more complicated everything becomes. By 12 hours, Earth has traveled more than 800,000 miles along a path it was never meant to take. It is no longer orbiting. It is escaping. 24 hours in, the sun has been gone for a full day. On Earth, there has been no sunrise anywhere. Every time zone has passed through a cycle that never completed. Morning did not come. Noon did not come. The planet did not turn back toward light because there was no light to turn toward. The temperature drop is now severe in many places, especially across continental interiors, deserts, polar regions, and high elevations. Pipes burst. Roads ice over. Fuel becomes a matter of survival. Heating systems fail where power grids have collapsed. Emergency shelters fill beyond capacity. Human civilization enters true survival mode. The safest places are no longer the richest places or the tallest places. They are the warmest and most protected. Deep underground facilities become vital. Subways, mines, military bunkers, underground data centers, basements, tunnels. Any structure insulated by layers of earth becomes more valuable than glass towers above the surface. The ground holds heat. The deeper you go, the more stable the temperature becomes. Far below the surface, Earth's interior warmth remains untouched by the vanished sun. Geothermal energy becomes one of the most important resources on the planet. Places like Iceland, parts of Japan, New Zealand, East Africa, and the western United States suddenly matter in a new way. Regions with geothermal power can keep heat and electricity flowing longer than others. And in the oceans far below the frozen surface and far below the reach of sunlight, life continues. Hydrothermal vents on the seafloor do not depend on the sun, they are powered by Earth itself. Superheated water rises from cracks in the crust, carrying minerals that feed entire ecosystems in total darkness. Tube worms, microbes, crabs, strange fish. Life that never needed daylight in the first place. If the sun were gone forever, the surface biosphere would eventually collapse. The oceans would freeze from the top down. The atmosphere would begin to condense over time. Humanity would have to retreat underground near geothermal heat, nuclear power, and artificial agriculture. But this is only 24 hours. And that difference matters because just when Earth has entered the edge of catastrophe, something changes. The sun returns, not gradually, not gently. After 8 minutes and 20 seconds, the first new sunlight reaches Earth. A blade of gold cuts across the atmosphere, and then the sky ignites. Across the planet, people step out from shelters, basements, tunnels, and frozen streets to see the most important sunrise in human history. The light feels unreal, not beautiful at first, terrifying, overwhelming, almost too bright to trust. But warmth follows. Solar panels wake up, satellites begin recharging, plants receive light again. Weather systems restart their ancient engine. The ocean's soreless storm, still holding immense heat beneath their surfaces, begin pushing back against the freeze. Ice starts to soften. Frost retreats from concrete and steel. The atmosphere begins reorganizing itself. But Earth has scars now. Power systems have failed in many places, crops have been damaged, transportation networks are frozen or blocked. Millions have spent a day in fear, cold, and darkness. Some regions recover quickly. Others face weeks of repair. And there is another problem. Earth is not exactly where it was supposed to be. In 24 hours without the sun's gravity, the planet would have moved millions of miles along a straight path. When the sun returns, gravity returns too. The exact outcome would depend on how the disappearance and reappearance happened, but the solar system would not simply pretend nothing occurred. Earth's orbit could be altered. The year could change, seasons could shift. The moon's motion could be disturbed. A single day without the sun might leave behind consequences written into the motion of the planet itself. That is the terrifying truth. The sun does not merely make life comfortable, it makes life possible. Every sunrise is not just another morning. It is the return of the force that keeps the oceans liquid, the winds moving, the crops growing, and Earth bound to a stable path through space. For 24 hours, humanity would learn what our ancestors always knew and what modern life lets us forget. We live beside a star, and everything depends on it. Subscribe to the What If Lab for more cinematic journeys into the impossible, the catastrophic, and the questions that reveal just how fragile our world really is.